Alright, I'm going to show you how to do some watercolor techniques. So you first need your watercolors, and then a piece of paper and a brush. The brush I'm using is a nice fluffy one, and it absorbs the water really nicely. So I'm going to do that. And I need a cup of water, since it's called watercolors. So the first thing to do with your watercolors is dip it in the water, and then swirl it in the color. Then on my paper, I can put it on and it makes this really nice color. The more water you use, the lighter the color will be. So to switch to a different color, I just wash my brush off and dab it on the side. Then I'm switching to the purple. And then if I wanted to make it a lighter color, I just get my brush wet and add more water and get it. And then put it right on the paper. So now I'm going to show you how to blend between different colors. So the first color I'm getting is a like green, but it showed up really yellow. But it was a green. And then I am going to transition it to a blue. So I'm filling up my whole paper with that green. And then on the opposite side, I am going to get a little bit of blue and then slowly work it into the green. And as I'm using that, there'll be less of the blue on my brush. And then in the middle, I am just kind of working it together. And I can even wash up my brush and even work it a little bit more to have it nicely transition. So now I'm going to use a different brush that is dry, and I'm going to show you what it means to do a dry brush. And that means your brush is dry, but your paints aren't. They already have some water in them. And then you use a dry paintbrush, and then this you can get details with the watercolors. So I wrote the word dry just to show, and then I'll show you a close-up here. So you can see it kind of looks like a regular marker. It just looks, you're able to get more thinner lines and have it be more pointy, and you can actually write with it better. So now I'm washing out my brush again if I want to switch colors, and then dabbing it to the side. So now I'm going to show you some like cool tricks. So this is called a wax resist, and I'm using a white crayon, and you can use actually any crayon, but the white is more invisible. And I'm drawing on the paper, and you can't see what I'm drawing, but once I put watercolors over it, the water doesn't stick to the wax, and it makes it look really cool. So this could be used to add like textures, or if you wanted to add something in the background and then do your watercolors over it. So as you can see now, when I wipe over it, now I can actually see where I drew with the crayon. And I wrote my name, Miss B. All right, now I'm going to switch to a different color, and I'm going to show you some cool tricks with some salt. So I'm using blue because a lot of the times people will use this in like ocean scenes or different things. So I painted it quickly with my watercolors. Now I'm getting some salt, and I'm putting a little bit in my hand, and then I'm sprinkling it over the wet paint, the wet watercolors. It has to be wet, otherwise it won't work, and it can't be too wet. So if your paper is like dripping with water, it probably won't work. So that's some extras, and I'm going to just put it back in the little salt shaker. So now once that dries, it's going to soak up some of that color and make it a cool speckled look. And I'll show you a close-up. So now I'm going to show you what not to do to your brushes. So here is a nice brush, how it's supposed to look. All the bristles are up. How you get it to be how you don't want, and this is what I call spider brushes, is if you're using your brush when it's dry and then you're pounding it into paper. That kind of looks like spider legs, and it ruins their brushes, and eventually they won't work and I'll have to buy new ones, and I don't want that. So to fix it, make sure you're using plenty of water on your brushes and styling the bristles of the brush like you would your hair. Make it nice all together.